hello everyone, Joe Dirty here from BlackBerryOS.com. Today I'm going to be giving you a BlackBerry Q10 review. Now I'm just going to be real quick, I'm just going to be going over hardware, software, some of the apps, some of the differences between the Q10 and the Z10 that I have here, and just kind of telling you a little bit about the device and talking through it. So let's get started. Why don't I start with the Q10 here and kind of point out some of the hardware differences. First, let's just start off with the front of the screen. Here we have a 720 by 720. I believe it's 330 ppi. It's a 3.1 inch screen. As you can see, we have a front-facing camera here, 2 megapixel. We also have some sensor indicators here. If you can see, it's hard to kind of see in this light. But as you can see, right off the bat, you're going to notice that the Q10 has that very bold-esque look to it. So the keyboard, that's going to be kind of like the factor here. It has a very bold key style look to it as far as the layout goes. The main difference is on the Q10, instead of the kind of the curved smiley looking frets in between the keys, we have these straighter frets here. Now, I haven't noticed it being any sort of factor in hindering me from typing well. I can still type just fine. But it might take you a little bit of adjusting at first, but you'll adjust to it just fine, and you'll be able to type just fine as well. So that's awesome. We got the keyboard. Let's move over to the side here. Here we have a micro HDMI port and a micro USB port. The micro HDMI port is very great for this size screen because the screen is smaller. You might consider yourself tapping into the micro HDMI more. I mean, if you see the screen size between this one, it's obviously, you know, the Z10 has quite a bit more real estate. Going to the top up here, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. We have the on-off button here and lock button. Here's a couple little microphone ports that are for noise cancellation. Here we have up here on the front we have the phone speaker. Over on this side we have the volume up, volume down, play pause, which is really useful, really handy. I use that a lot. There are no convenience keys on this, even though, you know, we got used to those with the BlackBerry 7 devices. This didn't have them, but you're not going to notice it. I mean, there's plenty of keyboard shortcuts that I'll be showing you here in just a second, but yeah, you won't notice that. Down on the bottom we have a speaker, and the speaker on these is actually really great, just like it is on most BlackBerry devices. And then we also have a microphone right here, for a speaking microphone. Okay, over to the back we have 8 megapixel camera. There's flash. There's a nice BlackBerry logo. And if you notice, this is kind of what a lot of people have been talking about, and that is the back here has that glass weave type backing. And what that means is it's basically almost like a material like fiberglass, I would compare it to. But it's very strong, it's very lightweight, it looks great, you know, and you know, BlackBerry's even said it's stronger than carbon fiber. So, and we also have this, if you notice, this metal ridge here. And when I first learned about this, it was from Jeff Gadway from BlackBerry was talking about it. And essentially, if you look real close, it's hard to see, but it's slightly raised. So that way, when you go to set your phone down on a flat surface, you'll notice that it just sits there and it'll raise off a little bit from the ground. So that way, it's not rubbing, your camera or lens isn't rubbing onto something. So that's the overall design. Let's jump into the OS a little bit. I mean, let's just kind of, well, let me show you kind of up against the Z10 and the Q10 here. As you can see in size, the Q10 is a little bit thicker. Obviously the Z10's taller. They're about the same width. The Q10, I would say, is just slightly wider. And as far as weight goes, they're really almost close, even though the Z10's bigger. And a lot of that's due to the Q10 has the, let's see, let's pull around back here. The Q10 has the larger battery. Now the Z10 comes with a 1800 milliamp battery. This one has a 2100 milliamps. So it's slightly heavier, but you are going to get the better battery life out of the Q10. Also here we have a micro SIM card little port there, and then also a micro SD card which supports up to 64 gigabytes. You may have to format it though if you do get a 64 gigabyte. I have 32 gigabyte in there right now. So let's slide that back on here. Something else I want to mention about this weave, they call it the glass weave. Now this isn't gonna like break or anything. It's very lightweight, and it's even flexible. When they mean glass weave, it's not like something that's gonna snap or shatter if you drop it. It's just the way that the material is woven together and put together. So I'm pushing a bunch of buttons on my phone here. Let's go ahead and get into the operating system a little bit. Now if you notice, it's very much like the BlackBerry Z10 is. Like I said, you have your keyboard shortcuts still, which is nice. You have your BlackBerry hub, and it's very fast and everything. So as far as the hub goes, one thing I noticed about it is like swiping up from the Z10, you have to kind of swipe up quite a bit in order to peek. But from the Q10, it's a lot easier because you don't have such a big screen, so you just kind of swipe up and it goes over real easy. And then, you know, swipe right over. So I noticed navigating a lot in the Q10 is a lot easier. You know, on the camera, has the HDR capability now, just very much like the Z10 as well. It records in 720 and 1080p. I've done a little sample video in my written review on blackberryoS.com of the 1080p. I took a little picture of when I was at the park. The browser's amazing, still very much like the Z10, as I said before. BBM now has a dark theme to it. And the reason they did this is because the Super AMOLED screen that the Q10 has, it's slightly different from the Z10 here. This screen, the Z10 screen is going to be a lot brighter with whites. The Q10 screen is going to be more vibrant in color with that Super AMOLED screen. It's gonna pop more in the colors and be warmer. And you can even notice it just as if you see here, you can kind of notice how, if you look at the Z10 screen, you can definitely tell it's got more brighter whites, but if you look at the Q10, you can tell it's more richer in color and deeper. So a lot of things like pop out more in contrast to you. So that's just one small difference. So I showed you BBM has the dark theme. Now the reason it has dark themes is because with this Super AMOLED screen, the darker colors render less energy, so it saves you on battery power and things like that. So BlackBerry was really looking towards the consumer in that direction as far as battery power goes. Calendar also has a dark theme, so they thought about that as well. You can pinch to zoom on the calendar, which is really cool. And then also BlackBerry World, of course, has the darker theme as well. And there's some great apps too. Skype is available now for the Q10. You can sideload Instagram, Netflix, and WhatsApp is also available in the storefront too. You can also get TV episodes, movies, music. So a lot of cool stuff to download to keep you busy. What else I want to talk about is a few differences in native apps. As far as the native apps that are installed on the device, because right now BlackBerry Q10 is running OS 10.1. The Z10 is currently running OS 10. There is a leaked version of 10.1, but the official version it's running is OS 10, which you will get the 10.1 update. So there are some small differences here as far as, you know, what the difference is between the different softwares. Let me just point them out real quick. In OS 10.1, you have a HDR on the camera. I talked to that. You have pin-to-pin messaging, which is now available and present in the BlackBerry Hub. You have APM editing is now enabled. Highlights for text such as word correction on the keyboard are now green instead of blue. The text picker has also been improved. It allows for easy moving from left to right in between letters. If you noticed before, when you go to like autocorrect something, you'll notice it's very difficult to kind of select what you wanted to hit. The select all is brought back in the BBM, so which is really cool. You can now select all your contacts. I don't know why they got rid of that. I really like that. Ability to turn off alerts for specific applications, so more alert and notification options. Easier to check for updates in BlackBerry World, and I'll show you that real quick. So if we go into BlackBerry World here, and I go to My World, So if I want to check for updates, I just hit this little update icon, just goes boop right there. Before you had to get into the menu, then select it. It was just kind of a pain, but looks like I got an update for Slacker Radio. Anyway, we have we know about the active frames. I just got that in OS 10.0. Basically what it is you pop open an app, you swipe it up, and then the app minimizes into a active frame, which is the app is actually running still in a minimized form. And so that way, it's always running in the background. You can pop right back into it and get back into where you left off before. Also, BlackBerry World now has a coupon option. So if we go into BlackBerry World here, let's jump into there real quick, and you swipe down from the top, there's a redeem icon there now, as you can see here. So if I hit that, it wants me to enter a promotion code. Now you can redeem apps, which is really cool. Alright guys, so now I want to show you a little bit about some of the keyboard shortcuts in the hub, and then we'll kind of break it off for this review. So let's go ahead and get into the hub. Let's slide into there. Now, here's a few of my favorite here. You press B for bottom, and it brings you all the way down to the bottom. T for top, brings you back up to the top. You can scroll by hitting space, so it just kind of scrolls through. Let's go back up to the top. You can hit P for previous or N for next, so it'll go by the day each day when you're inside like the full hub format, or you go previous, it'll go to each previous day. As well as when you're inside an email or any kind of notification. So let's say I get inside email, you hit the backspace key and it'll ask if you want to delete. You can delete. Also notifications too, it'll delete those, or like any kind of like Twitter message or anything on Twitter, you can hit delete, it'll delete that right out of there. So those are really cool, nice little shortcuts you'll probably use quite a bit. So let's just leave this review now. There's so much more I could talk about with this phone, but let's just go ahead and leave it. The BlackBerry Q10, amazing device. You can, like I was talking about, you can get it at around $250 on contract. Yeah, it's going to be a great device. I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming out for it in the future.